Hey guys, so today I am back with my pregnancy update for weeks 32 and 33. Like I always tell you in the beginning, I'm a little bit further along than what I actually have videos for. I'm 35 weeks now. So I have a few more things this time than the previous times to update you guys on. Things have been changing pretty quickly and pretty rapidly. There have been some weird things that have happened. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump right into this video and tell you guys what went on during my 32nd and 33rd week of pregnancy. Okay, so a lot of new things have happened. So you guys know that I see a perinatologist every week to kind of keep an eye on baby and make sure she's okay and that everything is looking good since we had so many complications kind of during the middle of the pregnancy. She's been doing very well. She's still a little bit behind on her growth, but she is, you know, still growing at her own pace and steadily at her own pace, and that's really what they're looking for. So even though she is a little bit smaller for how far along I am, she's still like on track as far as her own individual growth spurts have been going. So that's good news. So for my 32nd week appointment, I believe it was, I didn't write this down on my little note card, so I kind of forget if it was the 32nd or the 33rd week. But you guys know that I go in for weekly non-stress tests and biophysical exams. And if you're not familiar with what those are, basically it's just to make sure that she is developing properly, that things are going okay, practicing her breathing to make sure that the cord's not wrapped somewhere funky and causing her, you know, any kind of stress or not to be able to grow and just things like that. So I go in weekly to have that checked, and I believe it was my 32nd week I went in to have that checked, and I didn't really feel a whole lot of movement in the morning, and which was very strange because she has very specific times I've come to find that she kind of likes to wiggle around in there. She's really active at around 5:30 in the morning, and then she's also really active around like the 9 to 10 o'clock hour, and then throughout the day she's very calm or sleeping or not very active. You know, maybe a few kicks or rolls or wiggles here and there, but nothing too much. And then kind of come nighttime, she's very, very active again around 9 o'clock and then again around 11 o'clock. So she kind of has her little schedule for when I feel a lot of movement. So anyway, it was a little bit strange. I hadn't really felt too much in the morning, but I wasn't too concerned because I knew I was going to be going into the doctor, and you know, if something was going on, they're going to be able to tell me right away. So I wasn't freaking out too badly. So I went in and we started on the ultrasound, and she was not really moving a whole lot. I mean, the heartbeat was there and everything was fine as far as that goes, but she just wasn't moving around a whole lot, which doesn't necessarily indicate a problem if it's not consistent. So I was in there for a very, very long time. That was probably the longest appointment I had. And they give you 30 minutes to pass your non-stress test and biophysical exam. And basically that gives her 30 minutes to practice her breathing so that they can see it on the ultrasound machine, you know, so that they can see that she's actually on track and developing well and all that kind of stuff. So they give her 30 minutes, and then, you know, if something isn't quite right after that 30 minutes, I think they said that they'll give you some juice and crackers and give you another 30 minutes, and then if you fail that one as well, then they would take some kind of other action. I've never really gotten to that point, thank goodness. We got in there and we started the non-stress test. Like I said, she wasn't really moving. I told them I hadn't felt too much activity that morning. So they kind of started jabbing at her with the little ultrasound machine, and you know, she wasn't really moving a whole lot, and I mean, she would do some little wiggles and she was responsive, but she just wasn't really moving. So I don't know if her schedule was just off or what the deal was, but it took her just about the full 30 minutes to pass. I want to say she passed the non-stress test and bio around 25 minutes. So that had me on my back, like laying down for a good 25 minutes, and I was starting to feel so dizzy. I was just like, you know, starting to just not feel good. I didn't know what was going on, and I started feeling kind of nauseous, and I just didn't really say anything because, I mean, these are all kind of like normal pregnancy symptoms. I had no idea that that could have anything to do with laying on my back. So the ultrasound tech kind of, I think, started to realize I maybe was like looking at her funny because I was kind of like seeing stars, and it was like getting dark, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I think so." And then I just remember like nothing. I passed out, and the next thing I know, they're like rolling me onto my left side and, you know, bringing me in some water, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was so scary. And I just had never felt like that. I got so hot, I was sweaty, I was seeing stars. It was like, you know, kind of getting black, and I was just like, what in the world is going on? This is so strange. And they were like, oh my gosh, you've got to tell us when something's going on. I was like, I didn't really know anything was going on until she asked me if I was okay. And it was really strange too when she asked me if I was okay. It's like I could hear her, but it sounded like I was in a tunnel. Like I really didn't have very much of my hearing. So I don't know, it was really scary. So then anyway, we talked about that afterwards. They're like, you don't sleep on your back, do you? And they explained that my brain wasn't getting enough oxygen or blood, or, you know, the blood return to my heart wasn't as much as it needed to be, or something of the nature. I kind of forget. Basically what I got from it was do not lay on your back for long periods of time. But they were just like, if your husband sees you sleeping on your back in the middle of the night, you tell him that he needs to roll you over or you will pass out, and that will be very, very bad. Long story short, I learned that I can't sleep or lay on my back. Like I knew that you weren't supposed to during pregnancy, just I thought more for out of comfort reasons. I had no idea you could pass out. So anyway, like if Brock wakes up in the middle of the night, he checks on me now to make sure I'm not on my back. I have pillows wedged on each side of me so that I stay on my left side. I try to sleep on my left side as much as I can, but sometimes I lay on my right side as well. But they said just for like blood flow and oxygen flow and all that kind of stuff, it is ideal to lay on the left side. So anyway, that happened and everything is fine, so don't be worried. I haven't like passed out or anything since then. So on April 2nd, I had a growth scan just to measure her growth and her weight and just kind of, you know, make sure everything was okay. That was my 33rd week. So I went to that appointment and they told me that she had grown, which was good. I can't remember what I told you guys she last weighed. I think it was like a little over 2 pounds. She's 4 pounds 6 ounces now, and I won't have another growth scan until the end of this month. So we'll kind of see where she's at then. It seems like a decent number, so I'm gonna just roll with it. They measured my fluid, which is actually doing a lot better. My fluid levels have gone up quite a dramatic bit. When they were first concerned about it, they said that my fluid level was like at a 5, which is extremely and pretty dangerously low. And then at this appointment, I want to say it was like at an 8, which is still on the low end, but it's definitely better for me. We're on the right track. Everything seems to be going good. I'm not really sure like what happened kind of midway through my pregnancy, but she has been making a full recovery from whatever it is that was going on in there. So I'm going to talk to you about a couple new symptoms that I have been having. So the first symptom, kind of aside from the whole passing out thing, I have been like pretty consistently dizzy since my 32nd week. Nothing super major to where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna like pass out any second or like fall over or anything like that, but it's just a little bit of lightheadedness. And I eat very regularly. I mean, I don't eat really full meals anymore because it really just kind of upsets my stomach and gives me heartburn and like acid reflux and all that kind of stuff. So I just eat like very small little portions here and there. The only like full meal, I guess, I eat really is dinner. Other than that, I'm just kind of like snacking throughout the morning and the daytime. So it's definitely not that I'm eating enough, and I'm always hydrated. I always have water with me. I'm always like constantly drinking water. In my phone, in my notepad, I keep track of how many glasses of water and how many ounces I've had during the day. So I am very, very aware of my hydration levels, especially since my fluid has been low. I've kind of had to be, so I keep very good track of my water, so I don't think that really has anything to do with it. I've kind of read online a little bit, and some women just get dizzy, so I guess that's not the craziest thing in the world. Now this next symptom or little thing that's been going on, I am so curious to know if anybody else has had this. It just happened. Oh my gosh, okay. I have been hearing clicking noises coming from my stomach. Like, it sounds like when you like pop a knuckle kind of, but it's like a higher pitch. I don't know how to explain it. And I told my doctor about it and she was like, that's really interesting that you brought that to my attention or whatever. She said, I had a lady you know, say something of that nature to me earlier on in this week, and she says, you know, I've had so many women tell me that they've heard little clicking noises or little like popping noises from their tummy and nothing ever happens. And she was like, I'm not sure if it's you or if it's the baby, but she said nothing has ever come of it, so don't be worried about it. And Brock has heard it too. I'm not crazy. Like, other people around me can hear it, which is the strange thing. Just every once in a while when she'll like move, I'm not sure what she's doing in there. It's hard for me to associate like what movements are coming from what part of her body, but when I do hear those clicking noises, it is associated with her moving. So I don't know if something inside me is popping or something inside her is popping, but something is popping and it's making a weird noise. So I'm really curious if any other people out there have had that happen to them, or if your doctors have told you anything about it. Okay, so here's the other thing. In the morning when I wake up, I have like nasty cramps, like really bad cramps, and this has continued on until now. I don't know if my body is just like preparing for labor or what's going on, but I've been having really bad like menstrual type cramps. I have already brought this to my doctor's attention. She's aware of it. She just said basically if it gets any worse than it is now to let her know, but as of now not to be too concerned about it. Also, I've been having a really bad pain in like my right hip, but she said that that could just be kind of my muscles relaxing and going to, you know, release or whatever, just getting ready for labor as well. So she said it could be your hips and everything is just kind of like starting to finally stretch apart. I've been feeling so much stronger kicks and punches as well, like, and it's to the point where you can see my stomach kind of like wave when you look at it. It's really crazy. There are times that I'm like sitting on the couch and I'm like, I just like punch at Brock real quick and like point to my stomach and it's just going like this, like back and forth. Like, it is the creepiest thing I've ever seen in my life. It is so strange. The other thing too is I had really swollen feet, like mega swollen, not just kind of like, oh, that's a little bit puffy. Like, it was like full-blown cankle. There was no distinction between my foot and my leg whatsoever. If I'm on my feet for a very extended period of time, like my feet get swollen to the max, and if I'm on my feet for a long time too, my hands get really swollen. And I've been running around today and stuff, that's why I don't have any rings on. I can't fit them on my fingers, but my hands have been very swollen as well, and that's kind of hit or miss. Some days they're just normal and some days they're really swollen. I feel like this is going to be a really long kind of like airheaded pregnancy vlog. My brain is so fried today, I don't even know. So that's all I have to update you guys on. There were quite a few like weird things that happened these few weeks. Those were my new symptoms. That's what happened at the doctor's visits. So yeah, that's basically it for this video. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down below. Otherwise, I hope you like this video. Make sure you are subscribed for more pregnancy vlogs, and I will see you guys in my next one. Love you. Bye.